All right, so in this video, we are going to react to John Edward doing a psychic reading of some dearly departed people in loved ones of people in a studio audience. So I wanted to use this as an example of focusing on hits and ignoring misses. And so he talks so fast. I didn't want you guys to just watch the video and try and figure out what I was talking about. I wanted to react to it, and I will be pausing him frequently so we can talk about what I mean by, focusing on the hits and ignoring the misses. So he's just now introducing himself to the audience and telling them about what it means to have a psychic reading where you're hearing from your departed loved ones.
Therapeutic and very healing and very helpful. It can be extremely empowering when you understand the process. But if you're looking for a reading to fix your grief, it does not. So I want to be very, very clear. I am ready to go. There's a younger male energy in this section that makes me feel like this would be son, nephew, grandson.
Okay, he's looking for a younger male energy, son, nephew, grandson. You kind of have to stop him and parse what he's talking about so that you'll notice what's going on as this goes on. So he said over in this section, and he's gesturing towards the section that we're going to start dealing with. I'm looking for a younger male energy, son, nephew, or grandson. Okay.
A Cancer connection.
Cancer. Son, nephew, grandson, Cancer.
Comes up here. Does this make sense? Where's Robert, Robbie, Rob? Where's the R? Can I get the mic to you guys over here?
Okay, now the lady in front had her hand up for Robbie, Robert, Rob. But he picked the lady in the gray sweater with the black turtleneck on. So he thinks that he has selected the person who's Robbie, Rob is calling to him. And remember, he had said it was going to be a younger male, son, nephew, grandson, and there's going to be Cancer.
The four of you all together? The three of you? Okay. Robert?
My father.
Passed?
Yes.
Okay.
Father. Right off, we have a miss. Now, one could argue, and I'm sure John Edward would, that her father is somebody's son, nephew, or grandson. But right off, we've got a miss. He said he's looking for a younger male energy. This is not a younger male energy. Let's go on.
Okay. Cancer?
No.
Where's
Cancer? No. Miss. Okay. So far, we are batting 0. Let's go on.
the bone issue?
There's two. There's my grandfather and his mom.
Where's the bone issue? There are two. My grandfather and his mom. Neither her grandfather nor his mom are a younger male energy named Rob, Robert, Robbie. So, miss. Robert did not die of cancer. He tried to seek out somebody who could be possibly who he's talking about, and she said two characters that cannot possibly be the young male energy that he started this whole thing with.
Somebody had something that affected their bone.
His mom.
She had bone cancer. So your mom had the bone cancer?
Yes.
Okay, and passed from that?
Yes.
She's making me feel like when she passes either around or on a governmental holiday, or something that would be celebratory, but for the country.
My father.
I'm seeing the American flag. So
Yeah,
when I see the flag,
my father.
yeah, when I see that, it lets me know that we're talking about like either July
September 11th.
Yeah, it's July 4th, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Did he pass in the September 11th?
Yes.
Okay, so I let that one run a little bit. So he says, I see your mother passing on a countrywide holiday that involves flags. And he names off a list of potential holidays that involve flags. And he was very clear that he was picking up that it was a celebratory kind of holiday. And his mother clearly did not die on a holiday because he didn't offer anything like, oh yeah, it was the 4th of July or Memorial Day or something. He doesn't say that. But she pulls it back and says, well, my dad died on September 11th. And she even interjects that in the middle of John Edwards' list of potential holidays that might be what he's looking for. Her dad did not die on a holiday. Her dad died in a terrible day for the nation. And yes, flags were put up, but it could not be through, no matter how much, calisthenics you want to go through, this cannot be construed as a national holiday. But what I want you to notice is how she is not upset by the fact that so far, every single thing that John Edward has said has been amiss at all. Look at her face. She's not even remotely thinking to herself, you are such a charlatan. You have no idea what you're talking about. Instead, she's looking at it like, finally, you're coming back to talk about my father, right? Like you thought it was going to be a young man named Robbie, but it turned out it was my dad named Robbie. You thought he died of cancer, but he actually was killed in 9/11. You thought that he died on a holiday, but you just misconstrued what those flags meant in your vision. And the flags were actually about, honoring the dead. Every single thing was wrong, but she's taking it in as though he had been saying the right things. She feels relieved that he finally is going to be talking about her dad. This is what happens when we, have these kinds of psychic readings and things, is that in John Edward's case, he talks really fast so that you'll very quickly forget what he has said prior to when he finally hits on something. He actually has not hit on anything. She has fed everything to him and he's ultimately agreed with it. You'll notice he continued on with his list of holidays, even as she told him it was 9/11. So he's not getting any of it right. And in fact, he's not even accepting her help. He's just like continuing to go on. There's one more thing I wanted you to see.
Feynman.
Your dad is Robert. We already
Yes.
addressed that. Mm-hmm. Are you the baby girl of the family?
I'm the
The
only
oldest
girl.
girl.
Okay.
She says, I'm the only girl. And then the other person who's with her says, well, the oldest girl. Okay, so again, I don't know how he's getting every single thing exactly wrong, but he's managed to get every single thing wrong. But the people who are being told the information are hearing it as though he's getting everything right.
Making me feel like you're the baby girl. Like that's how it's coming across to me. He's also making me feel like, is his mother still here? He's telling me to acknowledge his mom.
Yes.
We need to make sure that his mom knows that he came through. She needs a big hug. Okay? A huge hug.
So we ultimately get to what the audience members came for. They feel like he is conveying a message from their, in her case, father, to her and to the other members of the family, that he's okay, and that he wants them to hug his mom, and they're finally are where they want to be, and so they're willing to forget all the other things that were incorrect on the way to hearing what they want to hear, and that's where this can be super insidious, right? He started off this show saying this isn't going to cure your grief, and it's not going to cure their grief. But what they're hoping for is a little sense of peace, that they can know what happened to their loved one's soul or whatever. And so he is, taking advantage of that need to know. And he's using some classic psychic tricks to accomplish that task. We know that he's doing tricks not only because, just watching it, we can see it right now, that he's doing that classic throw out a whole bunch of information, just throw out so much stuff that something is going to have to be right for somebody in the audience. But he also, we know, is not actually talking to the dead, because he was discovered when he had a TV show for NBC. It used to air, maybe for about half a season, I think, before they discovered that he had hidden cameras and microphones in the green room where the studio audience would wait until it was time to go in to be recorded. And they would be in there, oftentimes encouraged by producers who were pretending to be members of the audience. They would talk about who they were hoping to see, hear from, things like that. And so that's where he picks up these details. And so the fact that he was completely wrong on the young energy, the son, nephew, grandson, the cancer connection, he's probably mixed up somebody else that he was fed the information about, and he's mixed it up, and on the fly, on the stage, he's having to compensate for that by just saying a lot of things and using the information she is giving him to ultimately give what appears to be an accurate reading. So I wanted to do this little reaction video because I like to use our class not only for how to think scientifically for research purposes, but also how to think scientifically as a consumer of information. And so while it is very tempting and engaging to think that a person can, know things that haven't happened yet, or, talk to departed loved ones, things like that, we have to always keep our science head on and say to ourselves, is he employing one of these tricks that we know would enable us to forget all the misses and focus in on that information that suits our own personal narrative. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the debunking of John Edward. He's all over YouTube. If you liked what he was doing, he's all over YouTube. He is very interesting. And I used to watch his TV show mostly because I was trying to figure out, what techniques he was using. But if you liked it, he is on YouTube. I don't know where else he might be, but he's on YouTube. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed the hits and misses.